April 20th, 2010, Gulf of Mexico, 41 miles off the Louisiana coast. The Deepwater Horizon oil rig stands 400 feet above the ocean, drilling the deepest oil well in history. 126 workers are on the platform. It's 9:45 p.m. Most are finishing their shifts, thinking about going home tomorrow. In 4 minutes, everything will explode. Jason Anderson is 35 years old, senior tool pusher, married to Shelley for 10 years, 2 daughters, Lacey, 8, and River, 4. He's been working on oil rigs for 15 years, ever since he was 20, knows every inch of this platform, knows every sound, every vibration, every warning sign. Tonight he knows something is wrong. Pressure's climbing. Jason tells the driller, "We need to shut this down." BP says keep going, we're behind schedule. Every day costs them millions. And if we blow, what's that cost? That's not our problem, that's their problem. But it will be everyone's problem in exactly 3 minutes. At 9:49 p.m., methane gas, under enormous pressure from 18,000 feet below, shoots up the drill pipe. The blowout preventer, the fail-safe device that should stop this, fails. Methane erupts onto the rig floor, invisible, odorless, deadly. Jason sees the mud drilling fluid shooting into the air like a geyser. Gas, 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 he screams into the radio. Everyone out, now. Men run, alarms blare, emergency lights flash red across the platform. But there's no time. The methane reaches the engine room, where massive diesel engines are running. One spark, that's all it takes. At 9:49 p.m. and 53 seconds, the Deepwater Horizon explodes. The blast is so powerful, it's heard in Louisiana, 41 miles away. A fireball 300 feet high lights up the Gulf. The rig shakes like an earthquake. Metal twists, concrete shatters. Men are thrown across the deck. Some are blown into the ocean. Some are crushed instantly. Some are burned alive. Jason is knocked down by the blast, but survives the initial explosion. His ears are ringing. Smoke everywhere. Fire everywhere. Screaming everywhere. He gets up, starts running. Not toward the lifeboats, toward the crew quarters. "Jason, where are you going?" Another worker yells. "The lifeboats are this way. There are men trapped below." Jason yells back, "I'm getting them out. You'll die, then I die." He disappears into the smoke. Below deck, in the drill shack, 4 men are trapped. The explosion collapsed part of the structure. They're alive but can't get out. Smoke is filling the room. Heat is unbearable. They're going to burn to death, or suffocate, whichever comes first. Jason finds them, kicks in the twisted metal door. "Come on, move, move, we can't." Doors blocked on the other side. Jason looks around, sees a small ventilation shaft. "Through there, go." "That's too small." "You want to burn, or you want to try?" "Go." 3 men squeeze through. The 4th, a big man, 6'4", 280 pounds, gets stuck halfway. "I can't fit. I can't fit." The fire is spreading. The heat is melting their skin. Jason grabs the man's arms and pulls with everything he has. "You're getting out. On 3. 1, 2, 3. The man pops through. They all run for the deck, but the rig is disintegrating. Another explosion rocks the platform. The main derrick, the tall drilling tower, is collapsing. Jason pushes the men toward the lifeboat station. "Go, I'll get the others." "There are no others. Everyone's out." "How do you know?" "Jason, we have to leave now." Jason looks back at the burning rig, thinks about the men who might still be inside, thinks about Shelley and Lacey and River waiting at home, thinks about what his father told him when he took this job. "You're responsible for your crew, every single one. You bring them home." "Go," Jason tells them. "I'm doing one more sweep." "You're insane. Go." "That's an order." They get in the lifeboat. Jason runs back into hell. He searches the crew quarters. Empty. Searches the galley. Empty. Searches the control room. Empty. Everyone is out. Everyone is safe. Jason has done it. Now he just needs to get to a lifeboat himself. But when he reaches the deck, all the lifeboats are gone. The platform is tilting at a 45-degree angle. The ocean is 75 feet below. Fire is consuming everything. Smoke is so thick he can barely breathe. Jason runs to the edge, looks down at the dark water. 75 feet. That's like jumping off a 7-story building. People die from this height, but people definitely die from fire. He jumps. The impact feels like hitting concrete. His life vest barely cushions the blow. Water rushes into his nose, his mouth, his lungs. He's sinking. Everything hurts. He can't tell which way is up. Panic sets in. This is how he dies. Not in the explosion, not in the fire, drowning in the dark. Then survival instinct kicks in. He fights, kicks, claws toward what he hopes is the surface. His lungs are burning. Vision going black. Just a few more feet. Just a little more. He breaks the surface, gasps for air. Alive. impossibly alive. Around him, the ocean is on fire. Oil from the ruptured well is spreading across the water, and it's burning. The Deepwater Horizon is a tower of flame behind him, lighting up the night like a second sun. Debris rains down, metal, concrete, equipment. He has to swim, get away from the rig before it collapses completely. He swims. Every stroke agony, broken ribs maybe, definitely injured, but he swims, away from the fire, away from the burning oil, toward the lifeboats in the distance. It takes 20 minutes. 20 minutes of swimming through fire and oil and debris. 20 minutes of wondering if he'll make it. 20 minutes of thinking about Shelley and Lacey and River. A lifeboat crew sees him, pulls him out. Jason collapses on the deck, coughing up oil and seawater. "You're the last one," someone tells him. "Everyone else is accounted for." "How many?" Jason asks. "How many what? How many didn't make it?" Silence. Then 11. 11 men didn't make it. Jason closes his eyes. 11 families destroyed. 11 wives getting the worst phone call of their lives. 11 sets of children who will grow up without fathers. Because BP wanted to save money. Because they rushed. Because they ignored every warning. The Deepwater Horizon burns for 36 hours before sinking to the bottom of the Gulf. But the well, the actual hole they drilled 18,000 feet into the earth, keeps spewing oil, 53,000 barrels per day, into the ocean, for 87 days. By the time they cap it on July 15, 2010, 4.9 million barrels of oil have poured into the Gulf of Mexico, the largest environmental disaster in U.S. history. Oil covers 68,000 square miles of ocean, thousands of miles of coastline ruined, hundreds of thousands of birds, fish, dolphins, turtles dead or dying, 11 men dead on the rig, countless livelihoods destroyed. Jason Anderson survives, but survival isn't the same as living. He's pulled from the water that night with broken ribs, second-degree burns, and oil in his lungs. Spends 2 weeks in the hospital. BP's lawyers visit, offer him money to sign an NDA. He refuses. People need to know what you did, what you cost. Shelley and the girls visit every day. Lacey makes him drawings. River brings him her favorite stuffed animal. "To keep you safe, Daddy," he cries every time they leave. Physical wounds heal. Mental ones don't. Jason can't sleep. Every time he closes his eyes, he sees the explosion, hears the screams, feels the fire, smells the burning flesh and melting metal. He wakes up gasping, thinking he's drowning in oil. Shelley holds him, but she can't reach the place where the trauma lives. He can't go near water, can't look at the ocean, can't even take a bath. The smell of gasoline makes him vomit. The sound of alarms sends him into panic attacks. He's home with his family, but part of him is still on that burning rig, still searching for men to save, still jumping into the fire. PTSD, that's what the doctors call it. But Jason calls it something else: survivor's guilt. Why did he live when 11 good men died? Why did he get to come home to Shelley and Lacey and River when their families got folded flags and closed caskets? BP fights every lawsuit, blames the rig operator, Transocean, blames the workers, blames everyone except themselves. But the evidence is clear. They knew the well was unstable. They knew the blowout preventer was faulty. They knew they should stop drilling, but stopping cost money, so they kept going, until 11 men paid with their lives and the Gulf paid with its ecosystem. Jason testifies at the hearings, tells the truth about the warnings ignored, the safety measures skipped, the pressure to keep drilling no matter what. BP's lawyers try to discredit him, try to paint him as a disgruntled employee, but Jason doesn't care. He's not doing this for himself. Those 11 men died because BP chose money over safety. Jason says on the stand, "They died because someone decided that being 2 weeks behind schedule was worse than risking lives. And I want their families to know, their husbands, their fathers, their sons, they died heroes. They died doing a dangerous job that keeps this country running. They deserved better. We all deserved better." The gallery applauds. The judge gavels for order. BP's lawyers look at their notes. In the end, BP is found guilty of gross negligence, pays $65 billion in fines and settlements, but no one goes to jail, no executive is charged. The men who made the decisions that killed 11 people walk free, because that's how it works when you're rich enough. Jason tries to move on, tries to be the father and husband his family deserves, but the Gulf won't let him forget. Every day on the news, more dead dolphins washing ashore, more fishing communities destroyed, more oil buried in the sand, waiting to poison the next generation. The disaster didn't end when they capped the well. It's still happening, will be happening for decades. 1 year after the explosion, Jason takes his family to the beach, trying to face his fear, trying to prove to himself that he's healing. Lacey and River play in the sand, building castles, finding shells, being kids. Shelley holds his hand. "You okay?" she asks. Getting there, he lies. Then River runs up with something in her hands. "Daddy, look, a pretty rock." It's not a rock, it's a tar ball. Hardened oil from the spill, still washing up a year later, still poisoning the beach where his daughters play. Jason takes it from her, careful not to let her touch it more. "Let's go wash your hands, baby." As he rinses River's hands in the beach shower, he looks out at the Gulf. The water looks clean, blue and peaceful.
but he knows what's beneath. The oil that sank to the bottom, the chemicals they used to disperse it, chemicals that might be worse than the oil itself, the dead zones where nothing lives anymore. And he knows, this is his legacy now. Not the men he saved, not the hero story. This poisoned water, this destroyed ecosystem, this corporate greed that kills without consequence. 5 years after the disaster, Jason is invited to speak at a memorial for the 11 men. Their families are there. Children who barely remember their fathers, wives who've learned to be widows, parents who buried their sons. Jason doesn't know what to say. What can you say? I'm sorry isn't enough. Nothing is enough, but he tries. I knew these men, Jason says, worked alongside them, laughed with them, trusted them with my life. They were good men, the kind of men who'd give you their last dollar, who'd stay late to help a coworker, who'd call their kids every night from the rig to say goodnight. They didn't die because the job was too dangerous. They died because someone decided safety was too expensive. They died because warnings were ignored. They died because profit mattered more than people. And the worst part, the men who made those decisions, they're still making them. At BP, at other companies, at rigs all over the world. Because we let them. Because we decided that 11 lives, or 100 lives, or 1,000 lives are acceptable losses for cheap oil. I can't bring these men back. I can't undo what happened. But I can promise you this. I will never let the world forget them. I will never stop telling the truth about why they died. And I will fight every day to make sure no other family has to stand here, at a memorial for someone who should still be alive. The families thank him, hug him, tell him he's brave for speaking out. But Jason doesn't feel brave. He feels angry. Angry that justice is something only poor people get. Angry that 11 men are dead and no one is in prison. Angry that BP is still drilling, still cutting corners, still choosing money over lives. 10 years after Deepwater Horizon, Jason Anderson is 45 years old. He never went back to oil rigs, couldn't. Instead, he became an advocate for oil rig safety, travels the country speaking to workers, testifying at hearings, fighting for regulations that might prevent another disaster. Lacey is 18 now, heading to college. River is 14. They grew up knowing their dad is a hero, but also knowing he's haunted. They've learned to recognize the signs when he's having a bad day, when a smell or sound triggers a flashback, when he needs space to deal with the demons only he can see. Shelley stayed. A lot of wives don't. The PTSD, the anger, the nights when Jason wakes up screaming, it takes a toll. But she loves him, and she knows. The man she married died a little bit on that rig. The man who came home is someone new, someone scarred, but still hers. On April 20th, 2020, 10 years exactly, Jason stands on a Louisiana beach at sunrise. The same beach where he found that tarball in River's hand. The Gulf is calm, beautiful. You'd never know what happened here. But Jason knows. He'll always know. He thinks about the 11. Gordon Jones, Shane Rochto, Dewey Rivette, Stephen Curtis, Adam Weiss, Carl Kleppinger, Blair Manuel, Donald Clark, Jason's almost namesake, the other Jason who didn't make it, Roy Wyatt Kemp, Dale Burkeen. He says their names out loud. A prayer. A promise. A refusal to let them become just numbers in a tragedy statistic. I'm still here, Jason says to the ocean. Still fighting, still telling your story. And I won't stop, not ever. The sun rises over the Gulf. The oil is gone from the surface, but Jason knows it's still there, deep below, in the sediment, in the food chain, in the bodies of fish and dolphins and turtles. A poison that will last generations, just like the memory of that night will last in his mind forever. 87 days of fire, 11 men dead, 4.9 million barrels of oil, one man who survived when he maybe shouldn't have, one man carrying the weight of what if. What if he'd been faster? What if he'd found them sooner? What if he'd forced BP to listen to the warnings? What if? What if? What if? But what if doesn't bring anyone back. It just keeps you up at night, replaying every moment, every decision, every second that led to the explosion. Jason Anderson saved 4 men that night, risked his life to go back into the fire, jumped 75 feet into burning ocean, swam through hell to survive. But when people call him a hero, he thinks about the 11 who didn't swim, the 11 who didn't get to go home, the 11 whose names are carved in stone at a memorial in Louisiana. And he wonders, if he's a hero, what does that make them? The real heroes died that night. Jason just lived to tell their story, and he'll keep telling it. For 87 days, for 87 years, for however long it takes for the world to remember. 11 men died because someone chose money over lives, and that should never, ever be an acceptable choice.